Welcome back, and thank you so much for watching Smart24 TV, where we drive your business. My name is Anthony, and I'm your host. You're watching The Point. Now, today the talk is on the East African community and regional integration in general. And we've, of course, talked about a little bit, slightly, of a few things that are currently affecting that. But the trade barriers, when we talk about specifically the East African community case, and I want to pose this question to Honorable Sheila here. There's been this query that Ugandans have always put on board that our products are being banned elsewhere. Just taking a case example of Kenya, but also Tanzania has a similar case. In 2019, our milk was banned, and in 2020, our sugar was banned. Last year, we had other bans on several products like maize, with the claim that they had aflatoxins in them. And this came to a very a very huge detriment to the farmers of maize, which is one of our biggest cash crops here in Uganda. What do you think? Are these trade barriers really valid, or we should find better excuses for our lack of trade with other countries?
I would say when it comes to Kenya and Uganda, it's always a cat and mouse. We do the same business, we produce the same products. So there is a bit of competition there. Well, it's not only Kenya which has banned goods. Uganda has done the same. Uganda, for a long time, has a ban on beef, I think on timber, on most recently wheat. And these trade bans, okay, in the case of countries like Uganda, which are trying to put up industries and develop the manufacturing sector, it is to protect our markets, to protect our manufacturers and industrialists, so that our goods can become competitive in the region. So I think according to the East African Community Treaty and the Common Market Protocol, and also even the World Trade Organization, it allows governments to protect their infant industries for purposes of growing their industry. You can't always depend on another country for products, be it food, be it manufactured products. That wouldn't be feasible. But when you look at the banning of the maize, Uganda's maize to Kenya due to aflatoxin, I would say that it is again valid. When it comes to food, I think we need to protect each other. True, some of the way the agricultural products are handled, especially after harvest, that is the post-harvest handling of products, I think to me it is below par. As Uganda, we've not invested in that. It is not a matter of taking your product to the market. You need also to know, is it healthy for the people that are going to eat it? So you find that the way maize is handled, not only maize, by the way, granules, cassava, you find cassava being put on the bare ground. Dirty as it is from the garden, you find they are putting it on the ground, and then they're saying, no, it is okay, we are exporting this to Kenya. Kenyans don't mind. And I think to me that is an abuse, because even us as Ugandans, we go to Kenya and we eat that food. So why should we as human beings be exposed to such dangerous substances? Because aflatoxin causes actual cancer. When they tell you the whole trend of it, you really feel, no, this shouldn't be for human consumption. So I would propose, for example, that the government of Uganda invests deliberately in the whole value chain, from the time we go into put the seed into the soil, how we look after it. Mr. Jemba was mentioning that when you in Vietnam, what we get for 1 ton, they will get 5. What's the reason? And you'll find the reason is what seeds are they using, how are they treating the seed once it's put in the soil. So government needs to give support. For me, actually, I'm one of those people who I'm not talking about the whole parish development model, because to me the parish development model is more like Ntandikwa, money that was given for Intandikwa, there was Bonabagagawale. It is just changing names. Yes. So definitely. So you find that we need to prepare the people who are given this money. We need to bring back the cooperative model. We are doing it with the women cross-border traders to say, please, you are better off working together. When you buy in bulk, you buy at more cheaply, you can access loans, you can work as a team as opposed to working as an individual. The same with the agriculture sector. If we are expecting these people to do the post-handling, the post-harvest handling to international or even regional standards, then it has to be done collectively. I cannot invest as when I have my 5 acres of maize, I can't invest in silos, for goodness sake. I can't invest in, what is this machine they use to measure the moisture content? So we need to really, government should put emphasis on that. We know where the maize is produced. It's not all over Uganda. Maize is in Mubende, maize is in maybe Kasese area. So that is where you in these parts of Eastern Uganda, that is where you put the silos. So for me as a farmer, my business is grow more maize. When we were growing up, I remember there was a Lint Marketing Board and they used to sing all these songs, Pamba Inomo Emigaso. You would concentrate on growing cotton, not to look at how am I going to market. The people would find cotton. I would just say, my cotton is ready, they come. Coffee is ready, they will be there.
And we have the Uganda Coffee Development Corporation.
No, those are authorities. I don't know, they gave them nice names as authorities. So even they're scary. You know when somebody has authority over you. But we're talking about structures that offer support to the productive sectors. Because Uganda, we know our best sectors, agriculture. We know everybody in this region. Not only Eastern Africa, but go up to Zambia, Mozambique, everybody's eating maize. And we can produce that.
Zimbabwe.
Yeah. But now, we are depending on the peasants. They are still using the same archaic methods of a hoe and a jambia. I think government can be smarter. They can do a lot to ensure that the maize we are depending on, because now maize, right now it's around, I think, 800. By March, it will be around 2,000. By April, it will be 2,500 in the market. So if we had the silos and these people, we are just collecting all the maize and releasing it, we would get much more money for the peasants that are doing the job. Instead of taking them this money in for the parish development model, support them to store their products, they release, and the government helps to facilitate them to trade this product. But we are just repeating the same cycle of poverty across the region, and to me, it's unfortunate.
Mr. Jemba, I don't know if you agree with Honorable Sheila here. She's saying basically we don't have, she hasn't even defended Ugandans for one instance, because I at least thought he would, close an eye, for us. But he's probably making her point very clear here that the allegations are actually true. Our maize has aflatoxins. Probably our milk is not up to standard, and Kenya is banning it. What is the problem?
Thank you very much once again. First and foremost, I would like to thank my sister. These programs are not meant to be for only the ordinary persons. They are meant to be viewed by everyone in the country. And in Uganda, we have a saying that when we talk about, when we discuss such a topics, we expect government officials to be listening in or watching such a program, because we are on the ground. She has been across. She has been in the ESC. Having been brought up in the East, she might have been crossing, praying in the during her praying hours. She would be praying netball across in Kenya, and then he comes back to sleep in Uganda, something like that. So, and we, to some of us, have been moving across the borders. We know what is happening across. And the truth of the matter is, a lot needs to be done on our side before we can even vindicate others. We need to clean our house. The kind of standards exhibit when it comes to maize is deplorable. For the milk, they have shaped up, and at a certain point, it was like protectionism from the side of Kenya. But we have done the same on Kenyan products. We have done the same on other products from coming in from other countries. We are forgetting the kind of taxes that are being imposed on goods coming from Kenya, even where, even those which are coming outside the country through Kenya. Because when Kenyans import, according to the protocols, such a goods which are imported from a third party, when they enter a partner state, the treatment they should get should have been uniform. It's not the case with Uganda. You find goods that are coming from other countries through Kenya exposed to higher taxes, which is bad for the economy. It's like you are restricting goods from coming across from entering the country. I agree with protecting budding industries, but protectionism is not good when we talk about economic development. We need competition for the last consumers to get value for their money. If you don't have competition, you cannot. She might have gone through Gayaza or Nabingo. She might go Nabingo. Some of the schools which were highly competitive. If they were not allowing, we assume schools like homes, you allow only your children to stay in this kind of school. Kindly, you allow only the Protestants in such schools. That is the reason why even Christian schools and others, religious schools, religious-based schools, had to open up. That competition gives you the momentum. And when it comes to international stage, you perform exceedingly better than others. Reasons? You have learned it from the lower classes to be competitive. So we don't need, there is no way you're going to tell me you are protecting industries, budding industry in the country, while at the same time you are importing importers into the country as investors. Because the president have been at the forefront of calling in Chinese to invest in this country. They are importing and repackage from the country. Then you are telling us these are investors. So you are protecting the growing industries, but allowing foreigners to come and take a space of Kawamala and Jemba, who have been in business, but gradually moving away from this import, or even diversifying from import, then start to produce local. We have seen people like Kentucky, they were importing. He's a producer now, one of the biggest in the country. Damulwana, Azleti Mulwana, Babula, you go to Babula, they were importing. Now they are making nearly everything from the country. Trying to find out how many roofings and others, if we can allow them to grow generically, grow holistically, gradually we can see a strong industrial sector in this country if we allow fair competition. I've been reading when what the president said about the late Mutevili. He advised government against subsidies, but you are giving tax holidays to foreigners. Where is the difference? Where is the big difference? Subsidies help instead of protecting the budding industries. You can provide subsidies, but allow fair competition. That is what China is doing. China is giving rebates to people who find the market for any product in China. So even if he loses a container on high seas, the kind of rebates he's getting will be enough to cover for what it has lost. They are getting money from 0 to 4% in China. 0% to 4% maximum. We are getting finances at the cost of financing in this country is between 23 and 36, depending where you are getting it from. Besides the newly introduced facility by the Bankers Association of 1 trillion, which would be at 12%. But even 12% is high. You go to Kenya. Kenya is between 8 and 12% depending. Likewise, Tanzania. There is no way we are going to compete. We have been talking about integration. The kind of integration we are talking about. When we are moving parallel, the disparities in the cost of doing business, the disparities in the cost of money in the partner states cannot allow us to compete favorably.
Mr. Jembo, on that point as well, the Kenyan government recently enrolled for GMOs, the genetically modified foods, to be brought into the country. Of course, that's basically facing, of course, the conditions there in Kenya, where they're growing maize under drought and so many other harsh conditions. Now, in Uganda, we have not approved, and actually the president is so against genetically modified foods. And yet we have maize. We could actually be able to export to Kenya, and they could start probably planting that maize and actually get our processed maize back there in Kenya. Why aren't we working together as a region in terms of policy?
Do we need GMOs? For sure, we don't. We need to plan well. That is what we need in this country. With the kind of soil we have in this country, the climate, unlike other countries, even our neighbors in Kenya, we don't need GMOs. We don't. I was listening to the president of Zimbabwe and what he has done. He planned way ahead. He did the research and realized how much they need in grain, how much they need in wheat flour, how much they need in nearly everything, and he budgeted for that. They went into an overdrive, provided land enough. Government facilitated farmers. Like she said, they had silos ready for that. For the next, say, 5 years. This is where we go wrong. We always get our priorities wrongly. We've talked about drought, but this is an issue of climate change. How much have we done? This is the reason why we never had the kind of harvest we have been always getting out of our farmers for the last 2 or 3 years. It's the issue to do with the extreme weather condition is happening not only here but across the globe, is because we have failed to protect Mother Nature. But if we can go back on the drawing board, do you know how much component of climate change nearly every government is putting into their budgets now? You go to UN, you'll find out it's over 24%. Nearly each and every government is providing that, which would have been used somewhere else if we did the right thing when it comes to protecting the environment. However, on the issue that we have been discussing about, it's very important and very critical to plan ahead. Government failure to get priorities right. I've been talking about this issue, not that I'm against the project of Kira, but was it the best that this country wanted at this particular moment? Never. We have maize in abundance, which at times end up, without mentioning the reduced prices, it can go as up to 300 Uganda shillings, depending on the seasons. Can we make something different out of it? Can we do a research? What can be made out of maize grain? Can we look at different areas? You go to Nakasero, realize how much is being lost in the fruits. Oranges, pineapples, end up selling 6 at 10,000 Uganda shillings. But if we had good planners, we just, in Eastern Uganda, you can put up all this collection of fruits and squeeze juice out of it, then export juice. Instead of bringing them to Nakasero, you get juice out of this hole. Then you leave the residue to make something different, either animal feeds or something in the region. Not transporting the whole thing.
Or fertilizers.
Definitely, for the fertilizers and others. This is where we go wrong. We have had a number of funds. This is laughable. We had Intandikwa, we had Operation with Creation, we had Mioga, we had Youth Fund. All these end up in the same basket. What have been the deliverables? Not much. Now we are having parish development.
Thank you. We're going to return with that, Mr. Jemba there. And we're still talking the East African integration. And of course, few challenges here and there have been cited. And of course, the opportunities. Now, when we return, Honorable Sheila, we want to start from the point of value addition, like he was mentioning, and standards. What is the role? What should Ugandans do? I know government has tried probably its best in this area, and maybe they have failed somewhere, but how should Ugandans prepare themselves, especially looking at the agricultural sector, as Mr. Jemba has highlighted, being one of the key sectors, not the electronics, not anything else, but the agricultural sector in particular? How can they prepare themselves for the regional developments that are coming up, and as well as the continental developments, especially through the Africa Continental Free Trade area? My name is Anthony. We are taking another short break. We return shortly.
Interesting.
Thank you.
I just wanted